National Women in Sports Day. We'll bring in Annie Agar from Las Vegas to celebrate and talk all things Super Bowl. Speaking of Vegas, the A's are no longer living the high life. Steve Phillips will join us to break down the latest news surrounding the potential move. And with 2 weeks until All-Star Weekend, we'll touch base with our Slam Dunk insider. Sham stops by to dive into the festivities. That and more, next on The Rally. What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Rally. Brooke Fletcher here alongside Joshua Perry. And we got one of the hosts of Live on the Line and the host of the Tennis Channel, Danny K, back in studio. Danny K, what's up?
Hi, guys. It's good to be here. It's National Girls and Women's in Sports Day, so happy special day to you. Yeah. And Joshua, aren't you lucky to sit here with two women?
I'm excited to sit here with the both of you, celebrating you and many others today. Phenomenal time.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it is exciting because it's a day I feel like to inspire young girls, but also to celebrate the women in this industry. It's cool just to kind of see all the posts on social media and just see everybody's journey and how they got here.
I agree, and it's cool just to see people that blaze the trail for you and I, and now we're sort of doing the same thing with younger people, which is crazy to think of. But I don't think of myself as that old, but that's the case we are in.
We're not old. We're just wise.
Seasoned.
Danny. Yes, seasoned. I like that better. Yeah, we have a lot of wisdom and we're seasoned. Okay. Well, on that note, let's get to today's big trends because we got to start in the NBA here because the trade deadline, it is quickly approaching, people. The Timberwolves and Pistons, they are nearing a deal that would send point guard Monte Morris to the Timberwolves. So Shams Charania, he joins us now. Shams, what more can you tell us about this?
Monte Morris, he's going to go to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Shake Milton, Troy Brown Jr., and 1 second-round pick are going to go to Detroit. And Minnesota's been looking at the marketplace for several weeks on trying to find a backup point guard to Mike Conley Jr. This is the team with the best record, tied for the best record in the Western Conference. But they looked at Tyus Jones, they were looking at Bones Highland, a few other guys. They land on Monte Morris. They get a reliable playoff-tested point guard. He's never averaged more than 1 turnover a game. So he's able to take care of the ball, manage the game the right way. He's played in multiple playoff runs. So Minnesota bolsters their backcourt. I think they're still going to potentially be in the market for another move as well. But this is the biggest name trade that has occurred so far. Xavier Tillman also went to the Celtics from Memphis for a couple second-round picks. That's going to be an insurance big man for the Celtics, as well as Simone Fontecchio going to Detroit as a wing shooter for the Pistons.
I love this Morris trade here for the Timberwolves. They needed him. You just talked about him helping out Mike Conley. They put so much pressure on Conley. Even on a bad shooting night, he'd go 1 for 9, and they still rely so heavily on him. Sometimes there's just off games. And it's crazy because this Timberwolves defense is unbelievable. Ranked number 1 for most of the season defensively. And then you take a look at their offense. Their offensive ratings like right around the middle of the pack. They're like 19th in offensive efficiency despite having Anthony Edwards, despite having Karl Anthony Towns. Having someone to take a little bit of the pressure off Conley, especially come playoff time, to let him be a little bit more fresh, I think is a great move.
I think it is a great move too, and I'm glad they did that instead of trying to go out there and maybe be a little bit more splashier. You're looking at a team, as you mentioned, sitting at the top of the West. A lot of things have gone right, and it feels like they just needed to enhance what the plan was. So the ability to infuse a little bit more offense there, to maintain what they've done on the defensive end, it seems like it's setting up for a team who has not had a lot of success to have a little bit more this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, and John Krasinski, he was on our show just yesterday, and he was just talking about how depth was going to be a huge emphasis for them coming up here at the trade deadline. So adding a guy like Monte Morris, you guys were talking about the additions and what he can bring and value to this team. This is going to be a great move as the Wolves. They're trying to, really make a push here as they are tied for first place in the Western Conference. But let's switch gears here and let's get to All-Star Weekend. It is quickly approaching, you guys, and it's the NBA. They released that their unofficial list of participants in the dunk contest. So Shams, who can we expect to see in this year's competition?
Sources tell me the dunk contest is expected to feature Jaylen Brown, All-Star, All-NBA player for the Celtics. Mac McClung, who won it all last year in the dunk contest, had a few dunks, 50s in a row, didn't miss a single dunk. Jaime Jaquez of the Miami Heat, rookie sensation in Miami this season. He's going to be in the dunk contest. And Jacob Toppin, the brother of Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin's been in the dunk contest before, and Jacob Toppin is playing on a 2-way contract with the Knicks. He spent time with Westchester in the G League. So those 4 players are the expected dunk contest participants that are going to be announced by the league officially on Thursday. We haven't had an all-star player be in the dunk contest since 2017. So Jaylen Brown is obviously putting himself out there, and we'll see if he has anything up his sleeve. I know for sure, guys, Mac McClung told me after the dunk contest last year, he had a few dunks in his sleeve that he really held off on. So we'll see if he breaks them out this year.
Okay, that's what I was wondering there, because Mac McClung, I'm just so excited to watch him come back as the reigning champion here. It's going to be very exciting, and to know that little tidbit just like honestly makes me warm up my hands even more. This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I agree with you, because the thing that we talked about yesterday, I think that this is one of the more difficult aspects of All-Star Weekend, because it feels like we've already seen some spectacular dunks, and year after year it gets harder and harder to be creative. So having an All-Star in there certainly helps. Having a guy like Mac in there certainly helps. So I think it's going to be in a decent spot.
Yeah, and it puts Jaylen Brown, though, in an interesting situation here, because he's an all-star, right? And we expect him to win. But when you're going up against a guy like Mac McClung, he's going to make it hard for him. So we'll see how this all pans out. But it is nice to see some of those big names back in the mix there. But let's keep it in the all-star weekend here, because we have the skills challenge. But we have an all #1 overall pick team, Sham. So what more can you tell us here? This is pretty cool.
Brooke, this is also a first for the skill challenge. They're going to have a team of at least 3 players that were #1 overall picks in the draft. Paolo Banchero of the Magic, Anthony Edwards of the Timberwolves, and Victor Wembanyama as well will all be on one team that are going to take on a couple other teams. Another team we talked about yesterday, Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, Benedict Mathurin of the Pacers. There's going to be at least one other team. So 3 skills challenge teams plus maybe 4, maybe 5 teams in Indianapolis, but there will be a #1 overall pick team for the first time. The league is having 3 obviously star players all compete on one team on Saturday night.
This will be fun for internet fodder, right? Like, you know, you got the #1 overall picks. Like, they're supposed to be the best guys in each class. And, you know, if the skills aren't up to snuff, I think people will have a little bit to say about it. I think this is also a really great way to showcase the young stars in the league. And I think everybody's aware of Anthony Edwards and the track that he's on, but you look at Paolo, and I think he's been phenomenal, and he's got an opportunity to really show off a little bit. And the same thing with Wemby, who's already got the star power, so I like that the NBA is doing this.
This just, to me, creates an opportunity for social media to go wild, so mostly I'm excited just to track the progress throughout this skills competition, because no one is quite the best judge like the people on their couch, the people that get to the 24-hour fitnesses of the world, the Lifetime Fitnesses, and show off their skills. And this is a chance to put the shining light on their favorite players.
You feel like the runs at Lifetime are better than the runs at 24-hour fitness, though.
I mean, not in California, not in the Valley. Let me tell you.
I love
got some old players out there.
I love just calling people out early on the show, Danny K. Okay, and finally, we got the All-Star Weekend coming up, Shams. But the trade deadline, like I said, it's just around the corner. And a team that could be making moves here are the Sixers. And they dealt with a huge blow earlier this week with Joel Embiid. He is going to be out for a significant amount of time. So with that, Shams, what moves, or could they make moves when the trade deadline comes?
With Joel Embiid being out 1 to 2 months, it really puts the Sixers in a position where they're looking at everything. They're looking at potentially a wing scorer, a guy that can play make for them, or a backup big that can provide some insurance with Joel Embiid out at least 1 to 2 months. And so I expect them to be active. They have a few contracts, Robert Covington, Marcus Morris, both on expiring deals. They have a bevy of draft capital, first-round picks, second-round picks, swaps that they can use in trades. So I do expect they're going to be active, and they have some players that do have value, guys like Patrick Beverley, Kelly Oubre in the marketplace. So this is a Sixers team that is working the phone feverishly going into the trade deadline on Thursday.
I think they need to. You hit the nail on the head there, Shams, with needing another big man. They can't just rely on Paul Reed and Mo Bamba down there. If one of them misses a game, where's the depth? Because at this point, it's just the 2 of them, no one behind them. You're going to have to play some small ball there with Marcus Morris and Tobias Harris, which isn't exactly an ideal situation, especially knowing their hopes, right? They're trying to contend for a championship. So another big man to be in the mix and help there, obviously, is very needed. The other place I would look for is some sort of shooter, not necessarily just a lockdown shooter, because I think ultimately you could be schemed out of the offense a little bit if all you do is shoot, because we need somebody, or I say we like I'm from Philly all of a sudden, but Philly needs somebody to be able to also defend. And a true defender and only defensive player and no offense coming out of him also isn't really helpful. So I do see Bogdanovich's name being thrown out there quite a bit from the Hawks, and I do think that would be quite a good fit there for the Sixers, but I agree that the big man is probably the #1 option here.
I yield the remainder of my time.
All right there. Well, the good stuff from Shams. Shams, we know this is your last night's sleep before the big day tomorrow. So any preparation before the big day?
Not much sleep, but we're gonna get after it tomorrow. So trade deadline show streaming on Twitter, on Stadium tomorrow. So looking forward to that.
All right, we're looking forward to having you in the studio as we approach the NBA trade deadline. Guys, we got a great show coming your way. We're also going to talk some baseball because the Astros, they just locked up Jose Altuve to a long-term deal. So what does that mean for him as he enters the final chapter of his career? We're going to have Steve Phillips. And the Super Bowl media machine, it continues to roll on. So we'll take you out there and talk to Danny Agar. And the NBA just dropped their All-Star Celebrity Game roster, but some of the names are not that familiar to the common man, so we'll get you up to speed on who's in the game. That's coming up next. For all your NBA trade deadline needs, don't miss Stadium's trade deadline special. Join Shams Charania, Danny Green, and more this time tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern.
We are just days away from pitchers and catchers reporting, which means it's time to bring in Steve Phillips. Steve, how are you doing?
Doing great. Good to be with you guys.
We're excited to have you here, and we've got to talk about Jose Altuve. Hey, what a heck of an extension, worth $125 million. It's going to take him through his age 39 season. Do you think this was a smart move?
I do. I mean, I think this guy's going to age well. He hits the good stuff from pitchers. He can handle the fastball. His numbers are phenomenal. He's a great postseason player. And he's one of those players who can start his career and finish his career with the same team. He's got a shot at 3,000 hits. And if he doesn't get there by 39, he may have a year or two to go. But I think the big question is not is this a good move for Altuve? It is. I mean, by the time he's done with his contract, he'll end up as the only second baseman in the history of the game earning more than $300 million. That's pretty good. But I think it's the right thing for Houston to bring him back in. He's such a key part of this team, both in leadership and production. Think about this. He's played 103 postseason games. He's hit 27 home runs, and scored 82 runs. And again, in 103 games, if it were a 162 game season, you prorate those numbers out, you're talking about a 40 home run guy in the postseason against the best pitchers and best teams in the game. He is an absolute superstar.
One of those OG guys on the Astros, right? And he's a huge reason why they have been so successful. But another guy that has really helped build this team is Alex Bregman, and he's coming up on a contract year. So do you think they're going to be able to extend him?
So it's interesting, right? So they have to make some choices because they pay Altuve. What about Bregman? You've got Kyle Tucker in right field with 2 years of controllability. Framber Valdez, a pitcher with 2 years of, and they can't afford everybody. So they're going to have to make a choice. Interesting, they get the Altuve deal done, and now for Bregman, I think the real question is, do they have the money, and how do they prioritize Tucker and Framber Valdez? Now, I think the other factor here is, what is the realistic ability to sign Tucker? I think Kyle Tucker is going to play it out, go to free agency, and score the biggest contract he can. I think for Bregman, there's a chance to be able to find the right deal for him. Understanding, I think for Bregman and Altuve, the sign stealing scandal, whatever their participation is in it, and for Altuve, everything we're hearing is he didn't want to know the signs. He wasn't a participant in it. To go to a different franchise would be a bit awkward, right? And how will they be received everywhere else? I think it makes sense for them to stay. So I think there's a good chance they sign Bregman, and it may be that Framber Valdez and Kyle Tucker end up going to free agency.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Clayton Kershaw. He's headed back to the Dodgers. It'll be his 17th season with the club. What are your expectations for him?
Well, you know, he's only going to be back after the All-Star break for the last 2 months of the season. Had shoulder surgery, so it's going to be some time away. But here's the one thing we know about Kershaw. He's not made 30 starts in a season since 2015. He's averaged 22 starts a year since then, and I don't think he'll have the time to get 22 starts this year. But even, you know, and a lot of times guys who have been injured or missed time, their performance diminishes. Think about this. Since 2015, he has 96 wins and 36 losses. He's a plus 60 with a 2.5 something ERA. He's not declined in any way, and even when his stuff is less, he can still pitch at a very high level. So I expect the last 2 months of the season, he's going to be Kershaw again. Solid pitcher, key contributor to get to the playoffs, and very likely a World Series.
Steve, we've seen Netflix do behind-the-scenes shows. We've seen it with tennis, F1. We've seen it with golf as well. And now the Red Sox are letting a Netflix crew behind the scenes to create a little docu-series for them. If you're running their team, what are some of the things that you're doing behind the scenes to maybe hide some stuff?
I'm sweating about this right now. So the media person in me is like, this is awesome. Like, we're going to find out. I know what goes on behind the scenes. Now you're going to find out. The general manager in me is like, absolutely not. Who agreed to this? You can't do this. Like, I would ban Twitter for players because tell me, only bad stuff happens, right? They say the wrong thing. They do the wrong thing. They put the wrong thing out there. I just think that this is exposure that I wouldn't want. There's so much stuff that happens that you don't want people to know. The little fights, the little bickering, the little comments, the things that go on. The manager yelling at players, players yelling at the manager, the front office guy's hair turning white during the course. Listen, you want a white-haired general manager, go ahead and do a documentary like this. Like, I don't get it. I would never agree to anything like this. But God, I can't wait to watch it.
I know, right? You feel like two sides to it, but I think it does help when it comes to growing the game. And we talk about baseball, and I feel like it's the one sport so far. I know the NBA, they're working on a docu-series as well. So, getting in on the action, because I know people are enjoying these docu-series here. But let's get back to some of these extensions that we're seeing, Steve. And the Royals, they just signed Bobby Witt Jr. to a massive one, 11 years, $288 million. Now, listen, the Royals, they're not a team that's looking to really compete anytime soon. So I'm going to pick your GM brain here. Why does this move make sense then for Bobby Witt Jr.?
Yeah, I would give him this deal. This is one of the finest young men in baseball. He is such a gentleman, so well raised. The amazing thing, too, his dad negotiated the deal for him. How about that? Like, his dad, former major league player, former first-round pick as well. He ended up negotiating the deal on behalf of Octagon, the agency, and he got into that after his playing days. But I just think this kid is made of the right stuff. If you want your kids, say your daughter to grow up and marry a baseball player, this is the guy. right? This is the guy. He is that kind of gentleman right there. And so I think shows up, plays hard. He's a leader for the franchise. He's going to be a superstar player for the long term. He keeps getting better. I think he's a 35 homer, 70 stolen base guy. He's got that much talent, and his defense is improving. And the AL Central's up for grabs right now. There's nothing that says they can't compete. They've made a lot of other signings. They're going to be much better this year. And so why not the Royals? And if they do get there, it'll be because this kid, Bobby Witt Jr., leads the way.
Look, I'm staying away from the extension questions because I just love that he's into the drama.
Yeah.
So, Steve, there's some drama going on in Vegas. The mayor of Vegas is saying, hey, Oakland A's, stay in Oakland. Now she's retracting her statement. So what are you making of this whole mess happening in Vegas?
Right. So she's the mayor of the city of Las Vegas, and the deal that the A's made is with the county. And so previously, as the mayor, she brought a plan to the A's on behalf of the city for a piece of plot of land that she thought would be a good fit, and the A's said no. And she took that meaning that the A's really wanted to stay in Oakland. But look, she's saying, look, just in my opinion, I think they should go back to Oakland. You're the mayor of the city. You don't ever speak publicly and only speak on behalf of yourself. You're speaking on behalf of the city and what you want. And this is not a good look. Where the city, where the Oakland A's are moving, the mayor saying, I think you should go back to where you came from. So I don't know. This is noise right now. I think the A's do need to get their stadium deal done and finalized and approved and renderings and all of that going so we get this nonsense and noise stopping. They can't go back to Oakland. I mean, to me, it's the point of no return with that relationship there. They've got to work this deal out in Vegas.
And spoken like a true politician, kind of backtracking in her statement.
Play both sides.
Exactly.
Steve, it was so great to catch up with you today. Thanks so much for hopping on.
Okay, you got it. My pleasure. Thanks. Go Chiefs.
Oh,
okay.
some plus money wagers at the Super Bowl.
Speaking of the Super Bowl here, it wouldn't be Super Bowl week if we didn't talk some prop bets. So Danny Kaye, she's going to give us her best bets coming up next.
Travis Kelce anytime TD, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, Brock Purdy over under 12.5 rushing yards.
Over.
Right? That's a low line.
That's crazy. Isaac Burns Murphy was an African-American jockey who is considered to be one of the greatest riders in American thoroughbred horse racing history. He began riding at the age of 14, and by the end of 1876, Isaac won 11 races at Lexington. In 1877, he won 19 races and rode in his first Kentucky Derby, coming in 4th place. Isaac Murphy rode in 11 Kentucky Derbies, the first jockey to ride 3 Kentucky Derby winners. Murphy is the only jockey to have won the Kentucky Derby, the Kentucky Oaks, and the Clark Handicap in the same year. The son of formerly enslaved parents became one of America's most recognizable athletes during an era when horse racing was one of America's pastimes. He has won an impressive 44% of all the races he rode, a record that is still unmatched. He is considered to be one of the best jockeys in all of horse racing history and was inducted into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame at its creation in 1955. Mr. Isaac Burns Murphy.
Welcome back to the rally, and shout out to Zach for all these incredible features as we celebrate Black History Month. Very cool, right?
Yeah.
I love it. He's doing such a great job with those. It's absolutely incredible to be able to relive, kind of learn a little bit about history. It's awesome.
All right, well, listen, it's Super Bowl weekend if you guys didn't know. And since we have one of the hosts of Live Out the Line here on the show today, and I'm talking about our girl Danny Kaye, we're going to talk some props here. So let's start with probably what everybody's talking about, and that's the halftime performance. We were listening to Usher to get us excited for the halftime show, guessing maybe what's his first song going to be. What was that? Can you do that one more time for us?
Peace up. A-Town.
There you go. Okay. What is everybody thinking, Danny, as far as his first song? What are they saying?
Okay, so it's looking like a lot of people think it's going to be OMG. Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
It has moved from plus 800 to now plus 150. 29% of the bets are on Oh, my God. What? I will tell you that I think it's going to be DJ Got Us Falling in Love. That's at plus 1100. Or I can go all the way off of this list, guys, and go with the You Don't Have to Call.
That's a good one.
At plus
That's a good
1400.
one.
Remember, that was a hit back in 2002.
Yes.
It's a good little payout. What do you think?
If it was me and I was creating the set list, I would probably start with You Make Me Wanna, right? But that's not, it's a good song, like a nice medium pace there. It's one that's recognizable. He had some of the club bangers. There was that whole era where he was just making songs that people were playing in the clubs. Please do not start off with that. Now, for his residency, he would start off with My Way. I don't think this is a My Way crowd, so I'm probably leaning toward what Danny's saying.
That's really smart, looking into the residency.
Sure.
They're in Vegas, and so maybe he would have some continuity there, but I agree with you. I think you have to start with something that appeals to the mass, right? And the people that are watching the Super Bowl, one of his popular songs.
That's a fun prop. If you don't want to gamble on the game, gamble on that one.
That one's fun. I would be into that. All right, well, how about this? This is an interesting one. We had to look this up because it's called an octopus. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a player that scores a touchdown, and that same player also scores a 2-point conversion here. So what are some props around that?
Yeah, we saw Jalen Hurts do it last year, and that's when everybody was like scratching their head. What is this? I guess it's at 14-1 payout, so why not take it? It's only happened 188 times since the 2-point conversion was invented in 1994. But yes, we saw Jalen Hurts rush for a touchdown and then got the 2-point conversion to tie the game up at 35 late in the game last year. So it did recently happen. It's not my most favorite prop bet, but it is a fun one because not a lot of people even familiar with the term octopus. Were you?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. They had to explain it to me. I feel like I would stay away from this just because it's not something that happens all the time. And if you bet no, it's like, okay, well, congratulations, you bet no. So it's a fun one to look at for sure, though.
Yeah, a player that maybe could do that is Travis Kelce, because we know that he is the main target for Patrick Mahomes. But he's also stirred up a lot of drama in the media these days since starting to date Taylor Swift. They've taken the world by storm, Danny. So are there any fun props surrounding them?
There sure is. Actually, there's a wager where you can say that Taylor Swift's name will be mentioned in the MVP speech at the end of the game. That's a wager you can have. Or you can say the opposite, kind of the Kardashian effect, but with Taylor Swift. Karma. So Travis Kelce, 0 receptions in San Francisco to ultimately win. That's at plus 3,000. Now that's just for pure haters. The Chads and Dads around. Is that what everybody's called? Brads, Chads?
Yeah.
Something like that. Whoever you are, that's wager is literally created for you, because this one makes no sense to me. There is no way Travis Kelce's not getting a reception. He had 5 catches, 75 yards against the Bills, 11 receptions against the Ravens in that AFC title game. A 5+ for me, probably 7+ if you really want to look into it. This one's not happening, but if you're a hater, maybe you go for it.
Listen, we know Travis Kelce, regular season, phenomenal. Playoff Trav is a different dude. He is absolutely cooking historically. He has cooked in the playoffs, so this is one I would stay away from. I also think that the Chiefs are going to win the game, because why would I bet against Patrick Mahomes anyway? So this is trash, but you want to throw some money on it, plus 3,000. Go ahead.
Did you see Taylor Swift at the Grammys and how many she won? You know, Travis Kelce is like, you better give me that ball. He is scoring a touchdown, and he's going to show off on the biggest stage. Yeah, throw me a Grammy. All right. The Gatorade color, that is always a big bet, especially at Super Bowl last year. It was purple, right, Danny? So what are the bets saying now?
Well, Orange has made quite a push, because yesterday in Kyle Shanahan's press conference, he said, I like orange Gatorade the best. Now, when pressed a little bit further, what do you drink during the game? He admitted that he drinks water. So Orange got quite a boost there, especially because Orange has been dumped on Super Bowl coaches 5 times. That's the most out of any Gatorade color. Now, blue Gatorade is right behind them. It's happened 4 times. Purple and yellow have only appeared 3 times. So I would be going, I don't care if it's Kyle Shanahan who ultimately lifts the trophy or not. I am with you. I think it's the Chiefs. But I'll go with orange. At plus 300, you're still getting a good payout for a color that's been used most.
I'm going classic. Give me the yellow Gatorade.
Of course, the lemon lime. That's your favorite.
3 times, JP.
Yeah,
I like the frosted blue.
Flavor you like. Go ahead.
I like the frosted blue, but apparently I don't know if that's a big crowd pleaser. So
no, it's appeared 4 times.
Again.
44% has gone to blue.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm here for that. All right, let's get to Brock Purdy. He's going up against the Chiefs defense that might make him use his legs now, Danny. And so the first time when he does decide to run will be over under 3.5 yards.
Well, you saw Andy Agar there going into the break talking about his rushing yards prop. It's super low at 12.5. I think he absolutely blows through this one. But this one's really fascinating. It's at 3.5 for the first time he does decide to run. I don't see why not. He had 6 rushes for 14 yards in the divisional game against Green Bay, 5 carries and 48 yards in the NFC title game against Detroit. The guy is just using his legs a whole lot more than we saw in the regular season. And who likes to pressure the quarterback? The Chiefs. They are 6th in pressure rate from week 10 into the playoffs. So that pressure coming your way, that means you got to scramble out of the pocket. So I like this wager. I would say over.
I'm taking the over on this one as well, and I'm looking at it from a perspective. Number one, I don't think he gets enough credit for the athleticism that he has. They're like, oh, this guy's Mr. Irrelevant, so, you know, he can only do so much. Well, he can run it. The other thing, too, he was throwing his shoulder around. He's not a dude that was sliding. What you see oftentimes is guys slide, and then they bring it back to where the slide started. This dude is throwing his shoulders into defenders. So he's falling forward with the ball, leaky yards, he's going over.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, we know that these are 2 of the most efficient offenses in the league there, 2 of the really great defenses. So this game could go down to the wire, Danny. So if it does, what is a wager that we can go with?
There is an option. It's called a walk-off. Yeah, much like baseball, right? But this one is a walk-off in the football sense, that the last play of the 4th quarter will end in a score that leads one team to victory. This could be a touchdown or a field goal. Now, overtime does not count in this one, but because of the line being as close as it is, and everybody thinking that this could be a very, very close result, why not take a walk-off as a flyer here at plus 1,200? I did it myself, because the fact that they could march down the field last second, kick a field goal, absolutely seems plausible in a game like this, especially against 2 very talented, similar teams. So I'm loving that payout.
It feels like if the Chiefs get the ball last, this is a big possibility.
It's a really good chance, right?
Never underestimate them in crunch time.
The old victory formation is going to be a kneel down to end the game.
Ooh. Well, Danny, if you bet it, I'm going to bet it.
Yes.
I trust my girl Danny K, giving us some good and fun props as we head into Super Bowl weekend. But hey, we're not done talking about the Super Bowl, because coming up, we're going to send you out to Radio Row, where our girl Annie Agar is giving us the latest from Vegas. That's coming up next.
Brock Purdy over under 12.5 rushing yards.
Over.
Really? That's a lock to me, because he had, what, 51 in the other game?
I think Brock is better when he.
I think so, too.
It's actually crazy.
I know what to expect. Like some guys don't even know, they ain't know all this media stuff or like what we had opening night, how opening night was. I knew what was coming and it's just like I walk in, I knew what this was about to be about too, so I just know everything that's about to come.
The third string quarterback, the starting quarterback, what he's done this year, he's still the same guy as he was the first day.
It's day 3 of Radio Row out there in Vegas for the Super Bowl, and our Annie Agar has been there all week giving us the latest from Radio Row. So, Annie, good to see you. You've been making your rounds. We've been seeing all the videos and posts on social media. So what's been the most interesting conversation you've had so far?
I have to tell you, the energy has picked up a lot on Radio Row today, and I think it's just going to continue through the week. I ran into Cam Hayward today, and he asked me a couple questions, and I can tell you right now, it was the funniest interview I've ever experienced in my life. He was asking me what type of man I look for, because we got on the Travis Kelce conversation, and then we somehow got on, like, would I trade a friendship bracelet with him? It was a very interesting conversation. He's going around doing all this kind of social content stuff, which is what we see a lot of the players doing on Radio Row. Everybody's having fun. Jerry Rice just walked by me a little bit ago, so it's a good atmosphere here, but I have to say that was the most interesting conversation by far.
Yeah, glad you brought up Cam Hayward, an Ohio State Buckeye, so of course the conversation was going to be interesting and captivating, but
there we go.
You did mention Jerry Rice being out there. A lot of legends that are roaming Radio Row, so who's probably the biggest name that you've seen so far?
Oh, Dan Marino was here a little bit ago. That'd probably be the biggest one I've seen. Yeah, it's like, I think the guys who have been here for a while, you know, the older guys, if I can say older, they usually come in early, and I'm talking early. Like tomorrow, I think Emmett Smith is coming in at like 7 a.m. So we got the guys in here early. They get out early. They enjoy their day. Everybody else grinds till like 4 o'clock. So I would say that's probably the coolest time. Baker Mayfield was here. Cam Newton was walking around. He had an interesting top hat, as he always does. So yeah, it's I would say that's probably the biggest name.
Annie, I know you're becoming a bit of a degenerate like myself, so let's talk some prop bets, shall we? Because obviously Travis Kelce. Oh well, degenerate. I think Annie's okay with that. I think we're on the same page here.
I accept it.
Yeah. See, I had a feeling. So Travis Kelce, obviously. Huge name coming into this game in particular because of the Taylor Swift effect, and a lot of the odds are boosting some of his numbers here. How do you think he's going to do on Sunday?
Here's this as a prop I've been throwing around. Travis Kelce has scored 3 or more touchdowns in every playoff game since 2019. It's plus 550 for him to score 2 or more in this game. Based on just his answer for opening night, this guy is like on cloud 9. Okay, his girlfriend just won a Grammy. How he doesn't go off in this game, I will not understand. So I'll take that. I'm also going to take MVS going off because he is the sole Packer I'm rooting for on this team. So that'll be a win for me if MVS has a touchdown or even a catch at this point.
I love it. It wouldn't be a true pick there without a little bit of bias thrown in there, Annie. I like it.
Yeah, because we were talking about going back to Travis Kelce and like the fact that, you know, he was saying he wishes he could be at the Grammys to support Taylor, and then she just owned the Grammys per usual. And so, I mean, like, this is the world's biggest stage. Of course he didn't want to show off for his girlfriend, right? Like, he feels like he needs to kind of raise the bar here.
Yeah, if she delivers at the Grammys, he has to deliver on the big stage as well.
I agree.
Like, Patrick,
and a Christian McCaffrey 2 touchdowns as well. I think they're both good. I love them, Annie. I'm putting it on both.
There you go.
I love that. All right, well, you also got to talk to Cam Akers earlier today. So what was he up to? What was he saying, Annie?
You know, it's very interesting to get these guys' take on the Super Bowl and kind of what they're doing this whole week. I think a lot of them are here this is the off season for them. They're networking just like we are, and you see the guys, like, they see each other across the room, and they dap it up. They run over and say hi to them. So I think this is like a big reunion for them as well. So I think it's a lot of networking, a lot of catching up with guys you maybe didn't get to talk to during the season, a lot of off season talk. Yeah, it's just one big party for them, I think.
So we've been hearing the quotes coming out from the players and the coaches that'll be in this game. And, you hear things like Patrick Mahomes talking about a Super Bowl routine. Not a lot of guys get that. The Niners have certainly been here before, but they're led by a less veteran guy in Brock Purdy. So are you noticing a difference in the tone or demeanor between the Chiefs and the 49ers?
Absolutely. I brought this up today on one of the interviews when I was talking to some of the younger guys on opening night about being back in the Super Bowl. A lot of the Chiefs guys, Rashee Rice was the big one because he's young, right? He's a rookie. He said he knows now what to expect because Mahomes has been here, Travis has been here. They were telling him, at the halftime show, you got 30 minutes before and after the show even starts to kind of relax. So keep your composure. Don't go out there like some Bengals did. Don't go out there and watch the show, but you can expect a little bit more time. It's very interesting to see a team that's been here multiple years tell the rookies, tell the younger guys what to expect, and I think that's a huge advantage for them as well. 49ers, obviously, they were here 4 years ago, but it's just a different feel because I think when you win it and you have the experience that the Chiefs do, they can bring a lot more to the table. So it is definitely a different feel between each team.
The halftime advice is a very interesting note because in the NFL it feels like halftime flies by as opposed to college football games, but you got the halftime show and all the pomp and circumstance. Guys in the locker room pop their pads off and really kick back, and you don't typically get an opportunity to do that. So it's even little things like how to manage halftime that makes a difference when you've been there before.
Very fascinating for sure.
No, yeah, we appreciate, Annie, all of your insight from out there in Vegas. I know we are going to catch up with you tomorrow, so enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you later, all right?
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys, well, we're getting all excited about Super Bowl weekend this weekend, but hey, we got to look forward to the NBA All-Star Weekend. That's coming up soon, and one of the exciting events there is a Celebrity All-Star Game. So the roster was announced, and we're going to play a little game because we love a good game here on the Rally. So we're going to see who is really in, because there's some interesting names, or if it's a fake name, okay? Sure. So let's start with the first one. I believe it's Jack Ryan, real or fake?
I'm going fake here.
Yeah, I'm going fake too, not Jake. So
I don't know
Jack.
Jack.
I don't know.
I feel like I've heard of a Jack Ryan, so I'm gonna go with real.
It's real.
All right, so who is?
I don't know where I heard it.
A basketball influencer.
He didn't influence me.
Not me either. Oops. Okay.
I maybe scrolled across his TikTok or something, and subconsciously I was thinking about it. But good for Jack Ryan.
Good job.
Right. How about
Tommy Traps.
Tommy Traps, excuse me. What? I
It
don't know why.
seems like
So
a
is
trap.
this like
Tammy.
some lifter with some big old traps?
This is like that AI-generated Olympic Games we talked about the other day.
I think it's fake.
I think it's fake.
I think it's real. Tommy Traps sounds real. I don't know.
Oh, it's fake. Okay.
I kind of.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
AI-generated.
Got
I
the
knew
big
it.
trapezius muscles and whatnot.
Hilarious.
Oh man, I'm kind of disappointed. All right, what's the next one here? What's the next one? Ma'am, just ma'am. Like
No.
sir, ma'am.
No.
Honestly, this is
I'm gonna
so
go with
weird.
no.
It's throwing me off because it's not spelled like ma'am would actually be spelled, so it might be real, but I'm saying fake.
But you have her,
Sure.
right? So maybe ma'am's real. I'm gonna go real.
I'm gonna go fake, I hope. It's fake.
Dadgummit. All right, what would ma'am look like? Oh, it looks like her.
Yeah.
That looks just like her.
Can
It's
man
like,
style me?
A little neo soul music being made there in that
I think
studio.
okay.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, well, the opposite of ma'am, and that is sir. Is there a sir?
I
This
think
one's
there
gotta
is.
be
Now,
real.
because the other one was fake, this is real.
I'm going
we're
real.
going real.
Yes, we
Oh,
are right.
man. He's a Grammy-nominated artist there.
Good job, sir.
Good job, sir. There we go. How about this one? Is it Gianmarco Tamberi?
Gotta be real. I mean, I know Morris is a little bit of a nut job. Morris produces a show, but he didn't create that name.
I'm going with you. I'm
Same.
rocking with you.
I'm not even gonna try
That's
to say
real.
it.
It's real.
It's
He's
real.
an Olympic high jumper. All right,
Ooh,
look at him
look at
go.
that flop.
Marco.
My
Look at that
goodness.
flexibility.
Love
wow.
that.
Okay, speaking of weird names here, let's get to the last one. Hubert Pumpernickel.
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely
He's
not.
a celebrity chef.
No.
I don't know.
No.
This guy is? Does he
No.
make pumpkins?
I know. I like the last
Pumpkin.
name. Pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel.
Okay, he's laughing in our
This
ear.
is
It's not
no
real.
shot.
There's no way. It's fake. Morris is in my ear. He goes, he specializes in bread.
Jeez.
No, we're not buying it,
Nope,
Morris.
not buying what
All
you're
right,
selling here.
That was fun. We love the old AI
I
games.
love it.
All right, well, coming up, but we're not done talking about the Super Bowl. We got to get you ready for the big game, and we're going to give out some advice. That's coming up next. Stick around.
Jake Moody. I just said I'm not making fun of kickers. I'm going to make fun of a kicker. Jake Moody over under 1.5 field goals. I will tell you, under is plus odds.
No way.
It is. He's bad. This is a great prop because Jake Moody sucks.
Well,
sorry,
just
Jake.
everybody's taking the under. I'm taking the over.
All right, Jake Moody. He has confidence in you. Michigan guy.
Welcome back into the rally. Brooke, Danny, Joshua here, and today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. It's a time for inspiration, of course, for celebration. Obviously, you two have a very unique perspective on this day. So, Danny, I'll start with you, but who are some of the women that inspired you throughout your not only playing days, but your career right now?
Playing days, I definitely, my eyes go immediately to Jackie Stiles. She played at what is now called Missouri State, and she just scored so many baskets. I remember her talking about going outside and shooting 1,000 shots a day, so I did the same thing. And I think having her to look up to was definitely someone that I tried to emulate. Diana Taurasi would be another one. And then as I got into the business, Holly Rowe and the way that she was able to report on stories, she always went above and beyond. And I just found that so fascinating and creative. And I wanted to be just like her. And in fact, today I still want to be just like her. So those are just a couple that come to mind right off the top.
Yeah, they always say when you talk to players, they feel like Holly Rowe is like their mom, right? Because she makes them feel so warm and I feel like as a reporter, as a broadcaster, you want to have that, create that trust and that relationship.
Exactly.
And she is just is the example of that, the way she's able to do
down
her
to
job.
earth, and I think that that's what makes her so
Yeah,
special.
yeah, and staying on that note, as far as broadcasting goes, Melissa Stark, she's like an OG. Erin Andrews, everybody, she was the biggest woman as for us growing up. I would say.
Sideline reporter, the first one that I really paid attention to was a Melissa Stark and Erin Andrews.
Yeah,
absolutely,
to really break the barriers there. But I did gymnastics growing up, and I might be aging myself here, but Shannon Miller. Do you remember?
Yes.
An American gymnast. I mean, she is who inspired me to get into gymnastics and sports, and I loved her, and I was like, I'm going to be a gym dog. I wanted a balance beam. I wanted everything to be just like Shannon Miller in the Olympics there. And Billie Jean King, she is also somebody that, as far as trailblazers and for women in sports, she is the poster child for that. So she is awesome.
All right, Danny, take us back to your playing days here. Do you have any stories you want to share?
Yeah, you know, National Girls and Women's Sports Day, we were talking about it. Who is it really celebrating? Is it celebrating the women that have already trailblazed a path for us? I think yes, but I think a big part of today is just encouraging youth. And when we were in college, this day was really exciting. We'd have our game around noon or 2 p.m. and all the local schools would send all of their, from about 2nd grade into 8th grade girls to our games. And they were so loud and screaming. And let's face it, it's women's college basketball and at a mid-major D1. No one's coming to the game. So for us to have an entirely packed gym full of young girls that were looking up to us, trying to get our autographs afterwards, it just made me feel larger than life. And it's so funny because to them, it probably felt like such a cool moment to meet me, when in reality, it's a moment that's going to stand with me for so long, because it was just so cool to see it through their eyes. Wow, this is a goal I want to do someday. Look, she can be blonde. Look, she can have makeup on while she plays. All the things. There's no real stereotype of what you're supposed to look like to be a college athlete. And it was really a special moment and a memorable one. And I think teams all over the place should do that.
All right. Go ahead.
Well, it's just kind of crazy, like, because you think of little girls looking up to, you know, women like you, young women like you at that time as inspiration. But here you talking and you're like, how much they inspired you, and just felt, you know, you felt so important just having them come and watch you guys play.
Absolutely. It's pretty cool. It's crazy to think. It's sometimes when you go and speak in front of the masses, it's like no big deal. But then you start talking in front of kids, and all of a sudden you realize you're a little sweatier and more nervous than usual. It's because you have a big responsibility when you're in front of the young guys, in front of young guys.
No, I love the stories here, and I think that there's an obligation and duty as well for the fellas out there to make sure that we're supporting and highlighting and being allies for ladies out there, not only athletes, but people in our profession as well. So certainly an important day, and I appreciate y'all being so open.
Oh, that's some great advice, JP. And, you know, speaking of advice, listen, we got to talk, again, we're talking about the Super Bowl here.
It's like a big game or something.
It is a big game, and we deserve to talk about it here. All right, so let's get to Kyle Shanahan. He's known for flopping in big games, so if we had to give him some advice, I'm sorry, it's just that's how it is. What advice would we give him?
The answer is not always on the play sheet. And I think this is a big thing for guys who are offensive-minded coaches, right? Like, you always see them on the sideline, and they're like walking around like this, and the whole game they're doing like this, and it's like, brother, sometimes the answer is not in there. You have to feel the game. You have to be in tune with the game. You have to listen to your players, trust your gut, and ultimately, it's a Super Bowl. It's a one-game season at this point. Be aggressive. But the answer, it's not always going to be down there, so you got to create it yourself.
My little piece of advice for Kyle Shanahan is building off of you talking about how he potentially chokes in these big games, which is obviously true. But if you go all the way back in Andy Reid's career, like, you got to go back quite a bit, right? But the same narrative was going around about him.
Yep.
Look at how he was able to switch that around. So I would actually use him as bulletin board material there for Kyle Shanahan.
I'm going to say third time is the charm for Kyle Shanahan. Have that mindset. Learn from your mistakes and for you coming up short in these last 2 Super Bowl appearances here, and start fast. Something that you didn't do against the Lions, but you were able to make those halftime adjustments here. So start fast and then also make those halftime adjustments, and then you can win the game. It's that simple.
You should coach, Brooke.
Yeah, right? Come on, it's like it's hard, okay? It's like it's hard. It's the Super Bowl. All right, well, let's get some advice to Usher for his big halftime performance. What advice would we give our guy Usher?
I would say bring out some friends. Look, it's not an ego thing, all right? It's not all about you. People are so excited that you're there. You're there for a reason. Share the stage with your friends. It's going to make people even more excited to see. Like, who's some people you would love to see him on the stage with?
Ludacris.
Ludacris would be awesome.
Lil Jon.
Justin Bieber, another great one as well.
If Alicia Keys could still sing, it'd be nice to bring her out.
See, that's my advice to you. Don't think it has to be all about you. You still get your limelight. You're the one that everybody's going to remember that headlined it. You can bring your friends into the mix.
All right, my advice, I need 1 or 2 deep cuts. Like, we talked about it earlier, and everybody's got the popular songs, the songs that were at the top of the charts, the ones that were, the club bangers, and that's all well and good. But for the real fans who put the record on, start to finish, no skips, bring out a couple. Can you handle it? Like, let me get that one. Like, I know it's a slow song. Just slow it down for about 30 seconds for your boy, and I'm good to go.
Listen, we know that he can come out with some great songs there, but he's also known for his dance moves. Usher, don't stop dancing. Just
dance
perform.
the night away.
That's why we love you.
Do
Just
you
dance.
think he'll bring out the skates?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be amazing. I just need to see him He's such a good performer.
I
I
had
just
heard
can't wait.
that in Vegas. Did you see him in Vegas? That he just
No, I
doesn't
didn't.
stop dancing the whole show.
Love that.
I want to see the
I
same
love
thing
it.
at halftime.
No, I think he's going to be one of the best halftime shows we've seen in a while. All right, guys. Well, we have some time here to take a quick trip across the Rallyverse. Oh, we haven't done that in quite some time here.
Got some new faces
We
on
do
there?
have some new faces.
Damn, that's crazy. Jake Butt.
Wow.
Yeah, look
Love
at
it.
him.
You love to see it. All right, we got Pelicans. They're taking on the Clippers. You can catch this one from LA. Which celebrity would you like to sit courtside with at a Clippers game? I'm going to go Jennifer Aniston. I don't know if she likes basketball.
absolutely.
When in doubt, my answer is always Jennifer Aniston because I just want to meet her.
It's funny, I had a Jennifer Lawrence in my mind, but the second one that I'll go here is Kaylee Cuoco. I just feel like she'd be cool.
She
She
would
may
be
throw
so
popcorn
fun.
on the court with me.
Yeah.
Kaylee Cuoco.
Kaylee Cuoco.
Big Bang Theory.
I've never
Flight attendant.
Never seen.
Great show, by the way.
I would go Denzel and just get some, some wisdom and some advice from one of the greatest performers in Hollywood history. I feel like sitting with him, I wouldn't even be watching the game. I'd just be chatting it up.
I'm
Excuse me while I
I'm
Google
asking
Kaylee
this
Cuoco.
because I feel like our producer Morris wrote this and he loves boats. A clipper is a type of boat. What's your favorite kind of boat? I'm doing this for Morris.
Yeah.
You're into boats too,
I
aren't
love
you?
boats. I like a Kachina. I like a fountain. Those are my two favorite boats. You don't know what those are either. By the way, this is Kaylee Cuoco.
There you go.
Oh, I've definitely seen her before.
She's so cute, right? She would be
guys-
a lot of fun to go to game
Someone
with.
get him up to date on pop culture, please.
I know about the Housewives.
Oh, look at her!